Hello everyone and welcome back to Step by Step Coding. I am Jay and today we are going to cover the question number 4, which is what is difference between boxing and unboxing in C Sharp. If you have not visited the previous episodes, I would suggest please go ahead, take a look just the my question number 3, which I explain in detail. What is the difference between value type and reference type? That episode is going to help to understand some of the basic and nuances which we are going to cover as part of this episode. Let's start. So boxing and unboxing, these are two pretty important concept in C sharp. The C sharp type system contains the mainly value type and reference types. Boxing, on the other hand, it is a process that converts a value type variable into a reference type variable. Unboxing is the process is extraction of the original value type from an object and converts it back to the value type. If you see, but it's pretty simple thing, and as the name suggests, right, boxing, you can guess it that you are trying to box something, right? So even in real terms, the way it works, that you are trying to you box a value type data and put it on the heap. That's what the boxing does, that you convert a value type data and box it and store on the heap, and then when you have to unbox it, you extract that value from the heap location and again put it back on the stack. So that's fundamental difference between boxing and unboxing. Now let's take a look the difference, which I just wanted to point it out in previous episode, which I covered it quickly. I want to touch base this once. So the value type is the place where the primitive data types gets stored, and value type is kind of a box which contains the actual data itself. Reference type is the kind of data type which doesn't store the actual data, but it has got a reference which points to the actual data on the heap. So value type data goes on the stack, reference type data goes on the heap. Now we will directly move into the boxing and unboxing code. I just wanted to reference what is value type, reference type, because this is fundamentally, this is how we are going to understand it. But let's take a look the boxing and unboxing, the sample here. So it is a simple code. The main method, it is one of the integer n equal to 100. Obviously it is a value type, so what actually it means that it is going to be stored on the stack, and then we are doing the boxing. Now see what actually it is trying to do. Object box equal to n. So what it does, that it is trying to convert a value type variable to a reference type. Boxing is an implicit conversion process where a value type is wrapped inside an object instance and stored on the heap. So when they are fields within a reference type, they are part of the heap allocated memory. Now we will actually take a look a little bit detailed. So let's try to understand it. And on the last line, if you see, the opposite is happening. Now let's try to do a little bit deep dive of the boxing. What happens when we do the boxing? So since in the boxing we are trying to convert a stack data which is stored on the stack to the reference type. So let's see what is happening here. Int I equal to 100, and then in the second line you have object o equal to I. So int I equal to 100 means this data is on the stack. Now the moment you do object o equal to I, what it does, that CLR actually goes and allocate the memory on the heap, put that that values the 100 there, return a reference type, a pointer, and object o, obviously it is going to be stored on the stack. I mean, please, I think there is a miss spell here, so ignore that. I mean, simply on the bottom, the yellow thing, simply it is trying to say that it is a object O. So that's what happens when we do the boxing. uh, it's a simple process. Now let's take a look what happens when we do the unboxing. So in the unboxing, it is a process of explicitly converting a box object back into its original value type. Now keep in mind, I mean, the interesting thing, if you see that int j equal to, and then there is a explicit cost, the casting, which says that int, and you have the o here, right? So in unboxing, what actually we do, we first create a value type integer I to unbox the value from the object. So unboxing require explicit casting. The object must contain a valid box value of the correct type, otherwise it's going to give the invalid cast exception. Thus the reference type variable residing in the heap memory is copied to the stack as shown in this figure. Okay, so now let's understand one more thing. I mean, there are some few important consideration which is very important to understand it. So performance overhead, right? So as you saw that whenever we are doing a boxing, what is happening, a new object is getting created on the heap. Okay, and which involve, like, CLI has to go ahead, identify what is the memory needed. It computes the bytes, how many, how much space need to be allocated, and then it reserve that memory, return the address back to on the the reference the pointer which is stored on the stack. So that means CLI has to do all this processing. So that is what happens. I mean, whenever in our program, especially in the loop, if we are doing boxing and unboxing, it slow down your application. So we need to be very careful and try to avoid not to do boxing and unboxing. Another thing is that, which I already mentioned, that you have to be very careful when you are doing the unboxing. Because when you do the unboxing, you see under type, safety and exception, you have to be very careful that you should try to unbox to the actual data type which initially used when boxing happened. For example, in this, the 3 lines of code, 2 lines of code, if you see object ob is equal to 10, and assumption is that initially that 10 was the integer value. So here object ob is equal to 10. I mean, in the heap you have what? You have actually the integer, which is a which has to be on the stack, right? Now in the next second line, if you see, that integer is, we are trying to convert into the double, right? So if that integer cast which we have, if you see in the second line, if that integer cast you are not going to put it there, then it is going to give the invalid cast exception. The reason being that on the heap the data is on integer, right? Now once you have that int, then you can convert into double. So the second line of the code is going to work. But what actually I am pointing out, that the other two casting has been written on the code, double and int, and that int thing is necessary to have that, otherwise it's going to give error. Another thing is that, like I said, I mean, we should try to avoid the boxing and unboxing, especially before the generics got introduced. I mean, we had only the array list, and array list is kind of the data type where it accepts the objects. Means you can put any kind of the data, you can put integer, you can put a string. So whenever you put anything, obviously, I mean, internally behind the scene it does the boxing. But now with the introduction of the generics, all that the boxing operations can be avoided. So it's always advisable to use, the Zenavix as much as possible, so you can, performance wise, your application will not get hit. So that's all, from the today episode. I hope, this episode is helpful to understand what is the boxing and unboxing. If you like this, the episode, please subscribe for this channel for, the all the incoming, the episodes which we are going to cover as part of this series. Thanks for watching.